Hey guys, it's me, Pokemon, back here to bring you another epic gamer video. I don't know, just trying out a new intro right there. Not gonna keep it. Didn't sound good. Anyways, X Factor investigation. So, this X Factor team, we have Longshot and Shatterstar. I didn't think much of them. Still don't think I'm gonna invest in them yet until there's a full team. But I did watch some gameplay that OMG put out, and they were kind of going ham. So I'm kind of looking into their team, seeing who I think's gonna come. They're technically X Factor, but the problem with X Factor is like everyone's been on X Factor. I really think it's more specifically X Factor investigations, because both Longshot and Shatterstar are on that team. That's only like, that seems like what they're going for right here. And X Factor investigations has a lot of awesome candidates for characters that I think are, they're deep cuts, but they're not deep cuts. They're pretty relevant characters. So we're gonna go through some of them today and talk about their powers and sort of talk about how I think they're gonna play in the X Factor team. X Factor team, as I skin their kit, it seems like they work on applying crit chance, and if they apply a crit, then a bunch of effects go off for the whole team. So they're just trying to apply crits and then buff themselves by applying crits. So I'm going to sort of talk about how I think that can apply to these characters' powers today. So let's take a look from least likely to most likely, roughly. So least likely, I think, but still possible. We have Bane right here. So it's this person. Their power is they can turn into a wolf, as Bane would imply. So what could they do in the power, or like with this whole crit chance? Would be cool every time they crit, maybe she gets a stack of like werewolf energy or something like that, and then she can sort of, it's like Emma Frost where she has two different forms, her diamond form and her normal form. So if she has these werewolf charges, she gets to do werewolf attacks, but if she doesn't have any werewolf charges, she just gets to do like, I don't know, random stuff that like just hits people normally. But the more crits you apply, the more werewolf charges she gets, and then she does like these crazy werewolf attacks and stuff like that. So I think that'd be pretty cool gimmick. Wolfsbane, pretty deep cut. I don't think Wolfsbane's necessarily going to make it into the team, but I think I like these more out there characters. I like these supernatural, like the man thing. So I'd really like a wolf character. Wolf, like werewolves are just cool. Like, I don't know, unless it's Twilight. Anyways, next up, I'd say also somewhat unlikely, Banshee. Not to say Banshee is not a popular character. Banshee, sort of the whole gimmick is they scream or something like that, and they can shoot out like sound waves. The problem with Banshee is I think there's overlap. First off, Black Bolt kind of does that, but cooler. So I don't think they're really itching to put another screaming person in the game when we already have Black Bolt. And there's other candidates for this X Factor team. And I don't know, I guess every time they crit, maybe she could like attack the lowest health enemy or something like that, sort of like a Black Bolt sort of thing. Again, a lot of overlap in Black Bolt. Not a super hype character. I don't think they're really going to come. Next, least likely in my opinion, is it's either Richter or Polaris. I think Richter is pretty unlikely. Richter, as those of you that know a lot about earthquakes, I believe it's called the Richter scale, he can sort of move the earth around. So again, he could probably, well, okay, earth is generally in the elements. Fire is very offensive, earth is very defensive. I think it may be every time they crit, sort of summon some earth around people, maybe give them a shield or something like that. He could potentially function as a bit of a tank right there, but you know, generally he's a pretty offensive guy in the lore of Marvel. But I think, you know, you could sort of modify this whole earth power to maybe he's protecting the team with earth shields every time they crit. I think there's some potential there. I think Richter will make it to the game eventually. I think he shares some kind of connection with, I thought he shared some kind of connection with Cyclops, but I don't know. I'm just thinking of this one X-Men TV show I used to watch. It might not have been Richter. If you didn't know, Shatterstar is gay, and it appears him and Richter might have a bit of a thing. So who knows? Maybe they could add Richter. It's always nice to see more representation in this game. Probably the most popular gay characters in Marvel, I'd argue, are Wiccan and Hulkling on the Young Avengers. I'd love to see them come eventually, but I would not mind if we also got Richter. You know, always great to see some more characters in this game. I'm big fans of Wiccan and Hulkling. I'd really like to see them. Their kits are just, well, okay, Wiccan was kind of good in Marvel Future Fight. Hulkling was garbage, but I'd love to see them in Marvel Strike Force. Just the animation and the effects on them would be so cool. Especially Wiccan. He has some wicked cool effects. Next up, we have Polaris. Now, Polaris, I think, probably stands a better chance than Richter, due to her relation to other characters. She is the daughter of Magneto, so some relation to Magneto, some potential synergy with Magneto. And unlike Black Bolt, he came out more recently. Probably don't want to overlap with Black Bolt again, recently, like a year or so ish ago, but Magneto came out like 2 years ago, so having another Magneto like character I don't think is out of the question. With her crits, maybe she could blind people, like she throws magnets like metal at their eyes or something, and every time they crit somebody, she'll blind them or something like that. I feel like that's a very Magneto like thing to do, is to blind people. So she, just like Magneto really, she can control metal. So Magneto also applies blinds. He can move people around. I don't think Polaris would move people around, because that's that's just a crazy effect in the game. I don't think they just give that to Polaris and just let her move people around. Maybe like 1 or 2 people, but I don't think she'd do like Magneto does. Like, it'd be cool if maybe her special like bunched 2 people together or something like that, instead of an ultimate that bunched everyone together. That'd be kind of interesting to ever stand out for Magneto. I'd just like to see Polaris, partially because it's a pretty male heavy team. I think it's always great when it's not a full dude team. It's nice when they throw a couple of girls on a team. So I think Polaris is an awesome character to throw on the team as well. Next up, we have Havoc. I think Havoc is very likely. Havoc's I'd say he's one of the more popular characters out of this roster right here. Havoc can just like energy waves coming out of him and stuff like that. So that could be kind of cool, because every time they crit, maybe he could attack everyone on the enemy team. I think that could be a potential kit right there. So he just as you can see right here, energy flies out of him and hits people. Havoc's a pretty cool character. He's in Contest of Champions. I don't think he's in Future Fight, but he generally gets into the Marvel video games. People like him a lot. I could see him making it onto this team. The only thing going against Havoc for X Factor investigations is he is maybe too popular to go on the X Factor team. Like, he could go on a lot of other teams. They might not put him on the X Factor team and call it a day. Who I think's guaranteed to come is Multiple Man. Multiple Man is very popular. People love Multiple Man. One of the best characters in Dice Masters, if anyone ever played Dice Masters in the collectible dice game. Anyways, so he, as you may be able to pick up to determine from his name, is he can summon clones of himself. I think this would work excellently with the whole crit thing. So essentially, every time they crit, Multiple Man would form a duplicate of himself. I think that'd be so awesome. That would, just think about that right there. Like, every time they crit, Multiple Man's like, whoop, 2 Multiple Man now. So maybe his kit wouldn't be that crazy. He just punches people. Nothing too insane, but he just, there keeps on being more and more of them. And even his clones, like, no matter what, one Multiple Man will replicate every time there's a crit. So even if the original Multiple Man dies and they get a crit, one of the clones of Multiple Man could still multiply or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, technically, right here in the lore, it says it is random, but come on now, we can make it not random. Like, crits are random. That actually works even better. Crits are random, so randomly he will multiply himself when they're crits. It literally writes itself. Multiple Man would be so great. I almost guarantee Multiple Man makes it into this game because of how popular he is. I hope he doesn't look like this. I don't really like this look for Multiple Man. There's like a hooded look, like he sort of has something going over his hair and stuff like that. That's my preferred look for Multiple Man. Not really just a dude wearing a shirt. Not a big fan of that version of Multiple Man, but still a really cool character, and I think will definitely make it to the team. So to summarize, I think Shatterstar and Longshot will definitely be with Multiple Man. I think Havoc stands a good chance of making it onto the team. The only thing going against them is that potentially they want to do a mutant villain team someday. They could do that with Havoc. Now, with Havoc, they could of course, move him one day later. They could put him on the X Factor team now and then move him off down the line. And I'd really like Polaris for the team. If it's not Polaris, I think Richter would make it onto the team. He's a relatively popular character. Again, with that Earth skill, I think the team could maybe use a tank or something like that. Shatterstar's a little tanky with his crit, but I think it'd be nice if they had somebody who actually was applying shields to the whole team or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool if Richter could do that. But I think Polaris is a very appealing option for the game, simply because to add some diversity to the team, and it'd be nice to have more characters that function like Magneto, because those are some really cool gimmicks that I'd really like to see applied to the game again. Plus the whole magnet effects. All you got to do is take the color slider, switch it from red to green. You have Polaris's effects done. So I believe from a design perspective, I think Polaris would also be a very appealing character to add to the team. And this would be a pretty awesome team right here. I think if they added Polaris, Multiple Man, and Havoc, this is in the running for being probably my favorite team in the game. I'm a big fan of Hydra right now. I think they're fun to play. But This is a pretty awesome team right here. This team I built for you guys today. So that being said, let me know who you think the future X Factor characters are going to be. It's probably going to be a while before we see them come to the game. I believe currently the rumor was March, so we got a bit of time to wait, but I shall be anxiously awaiting the rest of the X Factor team. And at the end of the day, what do I really know? Because I am only a 19-year-old. I hope everyone can have a happy and healthy day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Signing off, everyone.